Hi everyone, and welcome to the next foil review. Today we're going to talk about the Nobile 2018 Zen foil. For 2018, Nobile have brought out a great traveling package for foilers. That combines the lightweight Zen aluminum foil, the Nobile Infinity split board, and it all can be packed in a nice check-in bag that will be allowed as check-in for most airlines in the world. This makes traveling extremely easy because you don't have to check in an extra board bag. The 2018 Nobile Zen foil is an aluminum foil with flat G10 wings. You have a choice of 3 different wings. You have the all-round front wing, the race front wing, and the Freeride front wing. I'll go into a bit more detail about the different wings a little bit later. You have a choice of different mast lengths between 35 centimeters, 60 centimeters, 86 centimeters, and 96 centimeters. As aluminum foils go, this is quite light. It's 3.35 kilos, so 3,350 grams. Most other aluminum foils of similar size weigh around the 4 kilo mark, so well done for Nobile for keeping it quite light. It's your normal multiple piece foil where the plate can be disconnected from the mast and you have a fuselage that separates from the mast. Again, this is great for traveling. It all comes together in a small little pouch bag to put together, which will keep it separate from your boards and so on when you put it in a board bag. It's all held together by 3 countersunk M6 screws for the front wing, 2 M6 screws that hold the back wing and the removable twin tip fin on the back as your stabilizer, your yaw stabilizer, and 2 countersunk M8 bolts to connect the fuselage to the mast, and again 2 to connect the plate to the mast. If you want to be really secure, you could actually even put 3. You have the option of putting 3 bolts in, even though Nobile says that 2 is enough. Other features on this foil, if you look at the plate, it has an actual quite nice adjustment system here. It gives you about 3 centimeters of adjustment forwards and backwards, which is quite good on foils which don't have an adjustment track. For example, the Infinity split board doesn't have tracks, it just has your normal M6 bolts in the board. So here it'll give you a bit of adjustment to move the foils backwards and forwards to adjust for the trim you want. Nobile offers a single stabilizer that works with all the 3 different wings that they offer. It has a span of 34 centimeters and a chord of 8 centimeters. It's a completely flat wing. So Nobile have a 4 centimeter fin on the back as a yaw stabilizer to resist yaw. The distance from the front wing to the back wing varies from 40 centimeters for the all-round wing to 43 centimeters for the race wing. The fuselage itself is 65 centimeters long. So let's talk a bit about how it rides. First of all, I'm going to talk about how the foil rides in general, and then I'll go into a bit more detail with the different wings. You really notice that this foil is quite light. It's quite easy and light underfoot, quite agile. It's actually very stiff. That's actually great, as a lot of aluminum foils tend to have a bit of flexibility. This one has very little flexibility, even though it's very light, and that translates into a quite solid ride. You have very little vibration, virtually no wobble. Yeah, it's actually very well put together and well designed foil. Very simple, but everything's really solid. The all-round wing has a span of 55 centimeters and a chord of 17.5 centimeters. And it's completely flat and has a very thin profile. Right, let's talk about how the all-round wing works first, because this is their sort of standard setup. You have a completely flat wing. Actually, all of their wings are actually flat G10 wings. I mean, the race has a little bit of a curve towards the tips, but very marginal. And the drawback of having completely flat wings is you have a slight roll instability, which just makes it slightly more difficult to ride than a lot of freeride foils you have nowadays with an anhedral curve. So the all-round wing is a fairly stubby, sort of not a very large span, quite a lot of chord. It has quite a thin profile, as do all the Nobile wings. This means it needs a bit more speed to take off and needs to again be that much faster to gain stable flight. For 2018, it is not the sort of most stable and easy foil. People will quite like the fact that it's quite agile on the roll and it can be banked quite easily. However, it is not super stable. It's the first foil I've had where I didn't quite get along with it immediately. It took me quite a while to be able to land maneuver successfully with this wing. The all-round wing also tends to be a little bit pitchy for my tastes. I had to mess around quite a bit with adjustments to find that sweet spot where I felt comfortable with the foil. It is very ventilation resistant. You can pierce the water surface with it. That's quite cool. And in general, it's actually quite a fast foil for a low aspect wing. This is the Freeride Wing. This is my favorite wing out of the set. It has a span of 55.8 centimeters with a chord of 14.5 centimeters. It's again got a very thin profile and is a completely flat wing without any anhedral or dihedral. This wing I found actually easier to ride than the all-round wing. It is a little bit more roll stable and is a bit less pitchy than the all-round wing. This helps when you're basically trying the maneuvers and essentially trying to go fast on the foil. Like the all-round, you can breach or pierce the water with the tips without too much happening. You won't crash immediately. And yes, it is quite an easy wing to ride. Again, it is relatively small with very thin profiles. I didn't notice a huge difference between the all-round wing and the Freeride Wing for stall speed. So they need about the same amount of speed to get up and flying and to be stable. And again, compared to most modern 2018 freeride foils, it needs a little bit more power and speed to get going. This is the Racer Free Race Wing. This has a span of 60 centimeters and a chord of 11 centimeters. And again, very thin profile. And if you can see here, it has tiniest bit of curve on the tips, but otherwise it's an almost completely flat wing. Also the difference, as it has a very small chord compared, for example, to the Freeride Wing, is you can see it has a little bit of a nose poking out in front, whereas the Freeride and the all-round wings, the fuselage ends 3/4 up the wing. The race wing, to be honest, I didn't really get along with very well. From all the wings, this one actually had small ventilation issues, and this one was quite loud. Even though the trailing edge is actually quite clean and sanded, this wing was screaming in the water, yeah, I wasn't so happy with it. Also, speed-wise, this doesn't really compare to other free race foils that are currently available. So if you look at the Moses Vorace and the GT, for example, Spot Shark and so on, this doesn't quite have the performance, and you don't expect to go as fast as other free race and race foils with this wing. The amazing part of the whole Nobile foil package is the split board. A while back, Nobile started building split boards together with Fly Surfer, and they've continued on improving their range. This is their Infinity 5.2. It has a 47 centimeter width, and if you can see here, it has a bit of a split, and when this board gets pulled apart, it fits nicely into the travel bag. It's constructed in sort of the cap sandwich construction. This is what you would see on sort of lower end wakeboards and so on nowadays. It's a fairly strong construction and light. You have a very thick EVA pad on top, and if you can see it here, this EVA pad creates a nice contour and sort of a bowl where you can sit your feet in it. For foiling, especially strapless, this sort of contour on the deck is great. It really lets you position your feet. It's very easy to find a good position. If you can really see, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, the deck is actually slightly domed. All this makes it quite comfortable to ride. If you look at the bottom, you have two fairly deep channels in the tail. This gives the board a little bit of extra grip for when you are riding it without the foil. You can put in two FCS fins either side. You cannot, however, put a single fin in the back as a thruster. So it lacks a bit of grip compared to a normal surfboard, and they've compensated this with the deep channels in the back. You have sort of a concave channel in the nose. This is quite cool for nose riding, and it's also quite good for when you touch down with the foil. This sort of splits the water nicely and sort of softens the impact. There's a concave running pretty much all the way towards the back before you get to the foil connection point. The foil connection point is 4 M6 bolts. You don't have any adjustment tracks in here. This is why it's important to have the adjustment tracks on the plate, and Nobile has solved that quite nicely. The strong and durable construction comes in at 4.4 kilos for the board. As I mentioned right before, this is an awesome combo for traveling, and Nobile have capped it off by supplying this check-in bag. You see right here, it has all the dimensions written on there, so you can actually show this to the check-in crew that it's sort of within standard airline recommendations. Most airlines will give you a total dimension circumference, and here you have it at 185 centimeters combined dimensions, and this is exactly what certain airlines will limit their check-in baggage to. You can fit the board, the foil, 1 or 2 kites, maybe even 3 foil kites if you're really good at packing, bar, wetsuit, and so on. And depending on the weight of your kites, you should actually be able to get it under the 20 kilo limit, even for airlines like Ryanair, Condor, and so on, where you are limited to 20 kilos. The bag has multiple options for carrying. You have your standard shoulder strap. You also have removable shoulder straps, so you can dump this thing on your back. Yeah, again, those are removable. And when it's fully loaded up, it has wheels. Saying that, wheels, I personally think are a bit overkill. on a bag like this. It's extra weight, which in theory is unnecessary. It's cool to be able to drag it, but you could also just put it on a trolley. And the wheels have sort of taken away, I would guess, with most bags, the whole setup with the protectors, the feet and so on. That's probably half a kilo. And half a kilo, it's a wetsuit, partially a bar. I mean, when traveling, every kilo counts. And maybe for next year, it would be an idea if they put a removable wheel set, for example, like on the Mystic board bags. That's actually something I use quite a lot. For most of my travels, take off the wheels to save weight, because half a kilo or even a kilo, for example, on a board bag for the wheels means a lot to me. So basically, in conclusion, Nobile have probably got the best traveling foil package on the market at the moment. They have a really nice light foil, the split board, and a really nice bag to accompany and to keep it all together. The foil is let down slightly by the performance of the wing options they have. Again, they don't have the performance or, let's say, ease of use of something a bit more expensive and a bit more modern. However, if lightweight and sort of easy to travel with is what you're looking for, then this is definitely the way to go. Well, that was my review of the 2018 Zen foil package. Thanks for watching. I hope it helped you make a decision on this foil. Again, if you like our content and you want to support us, remember to subscribe to the channel and click on notifications so that you are notified every time we upload a new video. And if you are really interested in supporting us on the long term, click here for more information on our Patreon scheme. Thanks for watching. See you on the water. Rock on.